The top-selling beers in the world are familiar to most of us as their ads have become part of our social environment, our culture, and in global sporting events. But there still are some surprises in the top 10 best-selling beers in the world. Welcome, my name is David Jolly. We live in a world where beer advertising dominates global sporting events and appears regularly on television screens, movie theaters, and in social networking mediums. It is therefore no surprise that many of the big advertisers also have some of the best-selling beers in the world. Here are the top 10 best-selling beers in the world. At number 10 with a silver bullet is Coors Light. German immigrants Adolf Coors and Jacob Schuler established a brewery in Golden, Colorado in 1873. Coors later bought out his partner and became the sole owner of the brewery. In 2005, Coors merged with Molson of Canada and became a true multinational company. Coors Light was first produced in 1978 and currently is the second best-selling beer in the United States and 10th overall in the world. At number 9 is the Mexican beer Corona. Corona was first brewed in 1925 in Mexico City and, like many beers, had its origins as a German-based Pilsner beer. In 1976, the company began exporting the beer to the United States, where it later became and remains the number 1 imported beer into the country. Corona is a pale lager well known for its iconic clear bottles and a great place to store your lime. At number 8, we find a beer from China, Yangjing beer. Yangjing beer can trace its history all the way back to 1980. Yangjing beer has the nickname the real taste of China and is also the state beer of China. Besides being popular in its home country, Yangjing is also popular in Mongolia and another neighboring country that I cannot pronounce. At number 7, we find another Chinese beer, Harbin beer. Harbin beer is China's oldest beer. In 1900, the beer was founded by a Polish citizen who was going to sell the brew to Russians working on the Trans-Manchurian Railway. In 1908, the beer was renamed Gloria, and then in 1932 renamed Harbin when Chinese and Czech nationals co-owned the brand. In 1946, the beer was renamed again when it was called Quilin under the direction and control of the invading Soviets. In 1950, the Chinese gained control and renamed it once again Harbin. At number 6, we find the green bottle of Heineken. In 1864, Gerard Adrian Heineken convinced his very wealthy mother to buy a brewery in Amsterdam. This brewery, the De Hooiberg Brewery, was founded all the way back in 1592. In 1873, with the help of Dr. Elion, who was a student of Louis Pasteur, the Heineken as we know it today was born. Heineken first was imported into the U.S. in 1933 and became the number 1 imported beer into the country until Corona took over that mantle in 1997. When it was first imported into the U.S., it came in a green bottle. And then there was a shortage of brown glass in Europe after World War II, so green it was, and green it stayed. Skol is the world's 5th top-selling beer and enjoys a true international heritage. Skol was launched in 1958 in Scotland under the name Graham's Continental, then quickly changed to Graham's Skol. Later the name was changed permanently and simply to Skol. In 1964, brewing companies from the UK, Canada, Sweden, and Belgium formed the company Skol International. Additional mergers occurred over the next few decades, and this once Scottish beer found itself known as a Brazilian beer, where it is particularly popular. At number 4, we find Bud Light. Bud Light is the top-selling beer in the U.S., but it does face stiff competition from both Coors Light and Miller Lite. Budweiser was founded in the 1850s, but Bud Light was not launched until 1982. Its low alcohol content and low calories make it a favorite among American beer drinkers. At number 3, we find another beer from China, Qingdao beer. This beer traces its origins back to 1903 during the short-lived German occupation of the Chinese city, Qingdao. The Germans drew mineral water from the local spring and used their traditional brewing methods to make a Pilsner. The beer has had several owners from several countries over the past several decades, but is now a publicly held company. The number 2 best-selling beer in the world has been called the king of beers. Yep, it's the Beechwood-aged beer Budweiser. In 1876, German-born Adolphus Busch and his friend Karl Conrad developed a Bohemian-style lager in the U.S. and produced it in their brewery in St. Louis, Missouri. Budweiser may be the number 2 best-selling beer in the world, but it's not even the best-selling beer in its own country. In fact, it's not even in the top 3. The number 1 beer in the world is a beer you may never have even heard of. And no, it's not from Bavaria, Belgium, the Czech Republic, Ireland, Canada, the US, or even Australia. It's from China, and it's less than 30 years old. The number 1 beer in the world is Snow. Well, there you have it. The top 10 best-selling beers in the world. It's interesting to note that while most of these beers have had a German influence, there is not one German beer in the top 10 sold in the world. So, what is your favorite beer and did it make the top 10? For more videos on beer, booze, and criminal law, please subscribe to this channel.